Last time on the Crf150R Supermoto build, I tackled cleaning up the rear brake, putting in some new pads, getting the wheels on, and also refreshing our exhaust, which was beat all to hell. On this one, we're going to be doing everything required to get the bike ready to ride. So the front brake caliper was pretty crusty, and while I'm sure I could salvage it, I went ahead and got one of the new refurbished calipers from 73 Moto Parts, and it's got the ventilated pistons in there. I'll pull this open and show you. So this has the brake tech ventilated pistons here, and it should help with heat dispersion, as well as it makes it a little easier for it to retract from the rotor apparently, which I could definitely use because I'm not using a floating rotor. But I also got a new brake line here with black fittings versus the red on here. That's not the only reason. This is a little bit shorter. This was super long when I took it off, and I want to try a shortened brake line here. And I did pick up some racing brake fluid as well. I swear, every single time I buy a bike, this cover, these screws are just completely torqued on and generally stripped. It doesn't take that much. Oof, that was stuck on there. This is one of those moments where I feel like I'm gonna break the lever. Oh, God, that was tight. All right, let's get our new line attached here. Oh no, I want to go the other way. My bad. Go this way. That should hopefully give us a little clearance away from the bars here. Okay, so down here we're going to try and want to go up, and that looks like it should clear our bleeder. Nice. We're going to tighten up these end fittings because they're... Actually, we'll do that on the bike because we'll get a little bit of flex out of them and then tighten these down. We'll get our bracket attached next and then our pads in. Gonna need this guy. These threads into here. And tighten that on. Nice. So then this will fit. Oh, I put it on backwards. Look at me. Because on this side, since this will sit in there, I'm going to take a little bit of grease and hit this post that was way too much grease. And pull some of that off, as well as this post. And when we install our bracket here, we'll just wipe off our excess. There we go. To get in our shims. All right, let's get some pads in. And despite having put one of these together a whole bunch of times, I never remember how this shim goes. I think it's something like this. Yeah, we'll see. I think it goes like this. I swear I never remember. Turn this around. There we go. There we go. So I guess I gotta take the rotor completely off on this one. And we are still terribly close to the wheel. So let me get this started with the bolt so I can hold the rotor on. Now we can bolt up our caliper. So it looks like our caliper completely clears the wheel, which is nice. And that is just the rotor sliding on the pad. My other big brake kit does the same thing. There's just a little bit of drag. I haven't tightened the axle down though, so let's see what that does for us. That might actually cause this to bind a little bit more. That's actually pretty good. Love to see how it is when it's got fluid in it, but I'm pretty happy with that. That's about as much drag as I have on my KX. And a lot of that is because of this isn't a floating rotor, and if I was able to source a 250mm floating rotor, that would be ideal, but I haven't been able to find one anywhere. Cool. Now that I'm looking at it, it might be worth flipping this around if it could clear through here. Alright, for now I have it routed around here, and I'll clamp to the triple just like that. And I have it running to the inside of the fork leg, out around and coming off this angle here. That kind of keeps it away from the tire, it looks like. So shouldn't have any problem with the tire rubbing on it, but we'll double check that. As soon as we as soon as we get going and we start pushing on it, we'll know. I can always just wind it out. All right, so doing the front brake, I'm actually going to push the fluid from the bottom here all the way and fill up the reservoir, trying to limit as much air in there as possible, and then we can bleed it regularly. But this should get most of it out. As you can see, it's pushing it all the way up in here. That should be pretty good and bled now. I picked up these Zeta clamps that were supposed to be black, but they look pretty silver to me. Oh wow, these are a lot longer than I thought they were. Ooh, I don't know if these clamps are going to work out for us. Okay, I moved the forks down and made enough room that I think these will be able to sit like right there. I'm not incredibly thrilled with how much purchase we're going to have here. Just looks like it's not big enough. Yeah, there's just not enough grip there for these mounts. Alright, so I got the clamp to fit on the bar, and what I did is I just ground down the corners here and just increased the radius. So didn't take a lot of material off, but enough to let them sit on there and clamp a little bit better. So now let's get the handguards on. The probe ends come with these trick little sliders too. Although, not really sure how these are supposed to mount. I feel like these should probably go on a little bit more, but I don't know. Should help a little bit in the event of a crash. Kind of curious if this monster 16 tooth will fit in here. We're gonna have to take our case saver off. No. I have to run a bigger front for gearing at Horse Thief. Hope we don't lose a chain and break this. Dang it. Okay, let's take this off real quick. That barely clears our swing arm guard here. Boy. Nice dose of thread locker on there. So since I got the frame powder coated, I wanted to keep it as nice as possible. So I got these frame guards, and they were just metal on the frame, and I didn't want them to rub off the powder coating. So what I did is I went and I got these neoprene sheets from Amazon. These are the worst things to work with, I swear. It just instantly comes apart and just sticks to your skin. Highly suggest cutting it before you peel the backing off, just because it sticks to everything. I learned my lesson on the first one here. Once I got it trimmed up, I had all these little nubs sticking out, so I just went around and I just started picking them off with my fingers. I think if I run these across with the cleaning wheel, I can just clean up the edge. It'll just rip off the little nubs from all of them, and it'll look a lot better. Something to do in the future for sure. So I think I actually forgot to film any of my catch can setup, but I 3D printed the front catch can that catches the coolant overflow. I've got a video on 3D printing this. I just use a beer can for the artwork, which is pretty cool. The valve cover breather I threw into the airbox with a cheap Amazon breather top, and then I routed all of the overflow from the carb and the crankcase into a 3D printed setup under the airbox. I'm not a huge fan of the design, but this was last minute. So what better way to test a bike that you just put together than to take it to Horse Thief Mile and put it into a race? So that's exactly what I did. Came in dead last, but that's fine. I had a ton of fun. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you on the next one.